If you are under an IRS investigation, when should you hire a tax lawyer? Well, here's some information that will help you make that decision a little bit better. Let's start with what a tax lawyer does. Tax lawyers do legal research. So when you took a position on your return by reporting or not reporting certain transactions, those had legal defenses potentially, and there's legal issues surrounding those. For example, if you have a corporation and you took a distribution, but you didn't report any of those distributions as W-2 wages, there's a legal question as to whether you should have done that or not. Now, if IRS is going to audit your corporate return and your personal return, they may want to reclassify that, and then now you will owe additional payroll taxes, penalties, and interest because that income should have been in part wages. However, under certain circumstances, you may not be required to report any of that distribution as wages, especially if your corporation lost money, reported the net loss for that year. Another example, if you have workers and you classify them as independent contractors, IRS might want to determine whether those contractors should be reclassified as employees. Now, that's a legal determination. Under the federal law, there's 20 factors, and under state law, there used to be 13 factors under the Borrello test, but now there's a 3-part test. So state and federal law can differ. Again, back to the legal research and the legal issues that are surrounding items you report on your return. A benefit of hiring a tax attorney is that you have the attorney-client privilege. So any information you provide to your attorney in terms of documents and communication is protected by the attorney-client privilege, and the IRS cannot obtain that information through summons or a subpoena. However, if you hired a CPA to prepare your return and provided information and explanations, all that information is subject to IRS obtaining it. So there's no protection there. Now, here's 2 instances when you really do want to hire a tax lawyer. If you are petitioning a determination made by IRS, also known as a notice of deficiency, so IRS came back, they audited your return and determined an additional amount was owed, and you want to fight that. If you have a corporation, you're going to need to hire a tax attorney to represent the corporation. And in most federal courts, you're going to have to hire a tax attorney to represent a corporation versus an individual. The second instance is if you have an investigation with IRS or the state of California, a criminal investigation, a civil audit, or a collections case. Anytime you're meeting with the government and you're providing information, you're going to want to analyze what the legal defenses are and also understand your financial records and what defenses and what strategy you're going to really need to develop before putting any information before the government. So when a client hires us to represent them in a criminal or even a civil matter, we'll look at all the records, we'll do the legal research, and we'll create a narrative. We're not simply handing over information to the government. We're understanding what the story is, because there's always 2 sides to a coin, and you want to highlight the factors that are going to be most important to you so that the government understands your position. And simply handing over records that the government's asking for with no explanation is not a good strategy. I hope this information was useful. I'm John Milikowski, founder of Milikowski Tax Law.